Milos Raonic, who didn't get up at 9 o'clock in the morning, a little bacon and eggs, maybe the odd Caesar, maybe a shot of vodka, to watch what went down. Oh, man. Was Andy Murray ever on his game? That was so disappointing, so close. I remember, Jeannie Bouchard 2 years ago. Oh, she'll be back. She'll be back. What if she wasn't? And maybe she won't be. How about Milos? Was that his big shot? Was that his, last?
I hope it wasn't, John, but I think it was.
Yes.
I don't think he's even close. The distance between 4 and 7 is immeasurable. He just can't do it. And all you have to do is look at what do they call them when they have to play to 7 points? I mean, they couldn't keep track of his score. It was so low. I just found Andy Murray to have more tennis. He was oozing tennis, and Milos was oozing strength with very little touch. Very little touch. And I hope he plays there next year, but I take a reasonable bet that he won't make the semis.
Yeah. And we got to get rid of the Joker quick. I mean, Federer was out in the semifinals thanks to Milos, but that could have been very well our greatest moment in tennis, and straight sets ain't going to do it for me. I'm sorry. I was pissed off.
Yeah, I was too, but I didn't want to let on because I had some friends here watching who thought he did representatively well. I did too, except that I had expectations that were a little higher because I knew nothing about tennis.
Right.
As soon as you saw the game start and the way he was serving, I think out of the first 2.5 sets, he had 2 aces. I mean, let's not fool anybody. He better be nailing the aces, or he ain't beating anybody in the top 4.
He serves at 144 miles an hour or kilometers, Bill. You're right, Barry.
No,
you know what I found?
Most of them were 145. They missed the tape.
You know what I had a problem with watching that, and it wasn't so much whether we were disappointed, because Andy Murray was a better player. He was seated higher. Better returning balls, right? What I had a problem with watching it was the fact that John McEnroe, who has become a consultant of Milos Raonic, is broadcasting the game. And to me, it was a conflict. I mean, they should have removed him from the broadcast because one of his own players. It's kind of like, well, he should have done this, he should have done that. I found that a bit awkward, and I think John McEnroe is one of the best announcers in the game, one of the best tennis players of all time, and it's pretty obvious what he's done with Milos Raonic. I mean,
what has he done? What has he done, Barry?
I think it's going to the net, which I don't think Milos Raonic ever did before.
Yeah.
I also noticed, too, and this is a couple things, whether John McEnroe had anything to do with it or not, but Milos Raonic used to wear like a sleeve. He used to wear like a headband. It was part of who he is and part of what he was, part of the way he was being packaged. It's not there anymore. No. I don't know if that had anything to do with, because it's Wimbledon, I doubt it, right? But to me, it looks like he's being packaged differently than he was, and he's playing differently than he was. Whether he'll be able to be good enough to be a winner of a major championship, I would say that he's had some injury problems, and I would say it's probably a talent factor right now. But I wouldn't say, if you looked at Eugenie Bouchard, I wouldn't make that comparison at all, because I think he's older than she was at that point, and I think he's maybe a little bit more mature at this point than she was.
I think it's more mental for Eugenie Bouchard than anything. I think there's a whole team of psychiatrists looking up in her freaking head. But when it comes to Milos, did you see Andy Murray? If you're a tennis fan, I know, Bill, you're not much of one, but just the highlights. Jesus Christ, did he have the match of his life? I know it's his 3rd major title and 3rd Wimbledon championship, but
I don't think so. I was trying to picture Djokovic playing Murray. Now there's a tennis player, Djokovic.
The Joker, sure.
He wasn't playing Murray. It was Milos Raonic, and he did the best he could, but he is a long way from Djokovic.
Yeah.
Come on, Bill. We're talking about one of the greatest players of his generation. You better stand in line for the people who are a long way from Djokovic. That's just,
Yeah, but that maybe is an unfair comparison or comparable to put Raonic beside.
No, who put him beside him? No way, Bill. Like, the guy, he will never, ever be that good because that's one of the greatest tennis players of all time. If you said he may be as good as Andy Murray, I would say okay, right? But no, I mean, Milos Raonic is a guy who's an incredible server. He's a young guy. He's in the top 10. Maybe he's like 6th or 7th overall. But he's never ever going to be. He's never ever going to be that good because Djokovic is great. He's one of the greatest players of all time.
Yeah, but not this week, Perry. Not this week. Don't you think that this was our chance? It pissed me off so badly that Bouchard would lose so decisively 2 years ago at Wimbledon Championship, and then Raonic, and the fact that half of Canada got up at 9 o'clock in the morning to watch this complete freaking mill. Okay, it wasn't a complete.
But why would you think that was his chance? If he was seeded 6th, the other guy's seeded twice. He's already won at Wimbledon. He's playing in front of his home crowd. Why would you think that Milos Raonic had any reasonable chance to win?
I don't know. I mean, read every newspaper. Read every
Yeah, you let yourself think he could. I did, and I thought, well, Andy Murray. But as soon as he got on the court, if you watch the gait, the athletic gait of Milos Raonic, and the same athletic gait of Andrew Murray, you know that Andrew Murray is going to take him to the woodshed. And
I know.
I say that in all due respect. A 6'6" guy, it's pretty difficult to move around the court the way you have to in order to win.
Yeah, but you read, just read Rosie DiMano for one thing. The people, they're not on Fleet Street anymore, but just the writers in England, I mean, who just poo-pooed his hair and his, Frankenstein fucking looks, and the John McEnroe and McBratt from, Wimbledon, one of those hated champions of all time. It just, these are writers who called the 2010 Olympics in Vancouver the worst Olympics of all time before they even started. So they got Andy Murray from Scotland, still in Great Britain, coming down, and they just didn't give Milos a shot. Just because of that, I wanted him to win at least. I mean, hey, it was down 2-0 to Federer when he came back.
Well, Federer was hurt. I'm just trying to make up reasons, and I don't want to belittle the fact that Milos Raonic made the finals. It may be a long time before he makes them again.
Yeah. If he, and we're talking about one of the Grand Slams, so he comes second in a Grand Slam. The guy's won tournaments before. I'm sure he's going to win tournaments again. And I wouldn't be surprised if at some point he won a Grand Slam. But, if this is more about emotion than it is about objectivity, if this is about the fact that everybody from Canada got excited about the fact that, one of their own, one of our own is in the finals of Wimbledon, one of the greatest sporting events, on an annual basis, and got carried away by the fact that he played better than he'd ever played before, beaten one of the greatest players of all time. Yeah. He was actually going to go into the finals and win it. I mean, I really don't think it was that much of a surprise. If there was anything that was maybe disappointing is that he got swept in 3 sets, but he was playing against the guy who was better than him. He had to raise his level that much to be comparable to a guy who in every which way was way better than him.